So I gained 66 pounds in a period of 3 to 4 years. That is 30 kgs, and that is a lot. Currently, I am 91 kgs, which is pretty much 200 pounds. If you want to judge me, listen, I judge me too. So, welcome to the judge party. I know that a lot of videos about fitness and health speak about, oh, I've lost this much. It's always about the loss, the weight loss, being healthy, improving yourself, which is great. But unfortunately, in my case, right now, where I am, it's the opposite, right? I went from being that girl to being where I am now, which is a very, very insane adjustment, and I do regret it. But I'm just gonna explain myself what happened. And I know the more acceptable answer would probably be me saying, oh, I had kids, I was pregnant 3 times, I had twins, blah, 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 because that makes sense. I feel like that is an acceptable excuse. But unfortunately, that is not my excuse, right? So I'm just going to explain how I got here. Maybe some of you relate. Maybe some of you are heading towards that direction, and you can use my story to kind of like check yourself and say, you know what, no, I need to stop. And when I'm showing you, I'm going to share pictures. I don't know wherever I'll put them at every stage in my life throughout the past 4, 5 years of gaining weight. I will pretty much show images so you can see the progression, right? For most of my life, I was always on the skinny side. So, to give you context, I was always between 55 kgs to 60 kgs, which is 121 pounds to 132 pounds most of my life. I'm talking high school, varsity, early years of working. So that was like how my weight fluctuated between those two numbers, right? And I was always very, very active. In high school, primary and high school, I was doing gymnastics and acrobatics. And then varsity, I didn't do much because I was focused on my studies, but I was still within the same weight range. Then, when I finished varsity and I wanted to start working, I signed up for gym and I did boxing. I started boxing and I really, really loved boxing. So, for most of my life, almost everyone who knows me, I was always healthy, fit, on the skinny side. So, to move from that to where I am now, where I'm 200 pounds. My height, by the way, I'm 160 centimeters, which is I'm 5'3", I think. 5'3". Luckily, I've had Fitbit for since 2016. I had bought a Fitbit, so I was always recording my weight on the Fitbit app throughout the years. So I was able to go to the Fitbit app and see my weight, and then go look at pictures for those dates, and I'm able to sort of like put it in chronological order, right? Which is what we'll see. As I mentioned, 2019, going back pretty much most of my life, I was between 121 and 132 pounds, right? 55 to 60 kgs. That was me, my normal weight. Then we know that COVID happened, right? And I think this is one thing that most people can relate with me on. COVID weight is a thing. We gained weight through COVID, most of us, right? And I'm one of those people. I did gain weight during COVID. So in 2020, nearly towards the end of 2020, I had gained a total of 17 pounds, right? 8 kgs, which put me at 150 pounds, 68 kgs. So that's the COVID weight I had gained. But I was still on the smaller side, honestly. You'll see with the pictures that I'm showing. So it wasn't like a bothersome weight gain. I was still fine. In fact, I think I looked great at this. I think before, when I was 130 going down, I was a bit too skinny. So that's the COVID weight. So that explains at least 17 pounds where it comes from. COVID. Cool. Then an unfortunate event happened in December of 2020, right? Just after this COVID issue also had just hit us. December 2020, I think it's the second week of December. Yes, it is. My sister passed away. Second week of December. And we put her to rest third week of December. So pretty much a week before Christmas, we were laying my sister to rest. Jeez, that's weird. I thought I had healed or whatever, but anyways. Oh, so December 2020, Christmas Day, sitting with the realization that this is the first of many Christmases, right, without her. And we had literally just buried her last week. Imagine. And we getting into Christmas. Anyways, so that happened. And as I said, I had just gained the COVID weight, which I was okay with. So started 2021, and I think that's when the grief started to hit. And honestly, it hit me more than I thought it would. Maybe it's because I was the last person to see her and all of that, because she was living with me at that time. So 2021 was tough. Because I was working from home due to COVID. I also had just decided to stop going out at that point. I stopped cooking because it means I had to go out buy groceries. I used to jog and stuff. Like I said, I was active. I used to box and all that. Stopped any of that. And I was just eating takeaways, honestly, the whole of 2021. And crying myself to bed pretty much almost every night. My sister's passing was really, really, really a tough one for me. I pretty much just threw my entire life away and entered this state of depression where I just didn't want to do anything. I was working because I had to, but after work, I wasn't doing anything, right? So I know people grieve differently, and I thought my grief was gonna happen and stop within 6 months, or a year at least. But it was pretty prolonged. I think it took me, I remember like 2023, now that's 3 years later, was the only time where I felt like finally I had accepted. So 3 years. But, anyways, so from 2021 to 2022, the first year of my sister passing, I went from that 68 kgs, 150 that I gained during COVID, to 170 pounds, which is from 68 kgs to 77 kgs. That is a total of 12 kgs, 26 pounds. That is the most weight I gained, right, throughout that period. And just to break it down for you, the increments from 150 pounds, then 6 months later, I was 156 pounds. Then, literally 2 months later, I was 165 pounds. Then, 2 months later, I was 170 pounds. So that's how it happened throughout that grieving process. Cool. Then, unfortunately, 2022, it didn't get better. It was the same. Nothing changed. Closed up indoors, working from home, eating takeaways, just not wanting to be an active part of the society, honestly. Wishing that, grief, you wish you were the one who was gone and they were like, it was just crazy. And it really took a long time for me. So, from that 170 pounds, right, end of 2020, beginning of 2022, right, I skyrocketed again. I went from that 170 pounds up to 190 pounds within the first 6 months of 2022. So from January up till July, I went up to 190 pounds, which is 86 kgs. And for me personally, this was when the weight gain started to be very apparent. In 2021, when I had gained and I had gotten to 71 kgs, which is between 155 and 156 pounds, actually, I think that was my favorite weight. You know what I mean? I wish I would have kept it there. So you'll see like some of the pictures that I'll put here. I wasn't thin anymore, but I wasn't big. So, and I had gained the weight nicely and evenly, right? So that was my favorite, honestly. Even right now, when I start the weight loss, as I started it, my target is to just be this version of me, which is 156 pounds, 70 kg. So that's the weight I'm comfortable with. But then in 2022, when I hit 190, it started to show. It really started to show. So you'll see the pictures here. The belly started, I mean, the belly was now there. And then the belly rose, as you can see. And that's when it took a hit now on my confidence levels, an extreme hit, especially because now it's the point where now even my clothes couldn't fit me anymore. You'll see somewhere here, I was trying to wear one of my night dresses, and the thing was like not fitting. And that's when my confidence now took a hit, because firstly you either need new clothes or you find some old raggedy clothes to just cover yourself up, and that's pretty much what I did. I started covering myself up more, wearing like more baggier clothes, baggier dresses, baggy, everything baggy. And at that point, the thing with my sister was still a thing, but not as bad. I had sort of not found a new problem in life, which is now the weight had now become the problem. So much so, I created now a new reason for being indoors, which was, oh, I don't like how I look. What will people say? Because I mean, 2 years ago or a year ago, you were that girl. Now you're this girl. Like, how are people at work gonna say, blah blah? You know what I mean? That's that. So that is throughout 2022. Then 2023 January, I was around the same 86 kgs, 190 pounds. I had then finally fully taken the time to grieve my sister the best way I knew how. And I was finally ready to sort of get my life back, because I realized that if I do not, it's not going to look good for me. And it's affecting many different assets and aspects of my life. So I was like, okay, let's change. I decided I'm just starting my journey of going to the gym. I'm going to post the picture here. In this picture, it's a vulnerable picture. It's like versus all the pictures you've seen of me before. And look at this. It's bad. And I was 190 pounds there, not even 200. So imagine now. So that's that picture. That was the picture I first took when I decided to change everything. Cool. Started going to gym. That's January 2023. Started going to gym. Started eating right, and just a little bit seeing some differences. Right, it's still too early. I think it's between January and like March, which is 3 months. But I was like, okay, cool, it's done now. She's gone. She's not coming back. Like, she wouldn't even want me doing this to myself. Then April 2023. Now I'm finally working at the office again, right? One day I'm going to work. I get to work, and unfortunately, I had an injury at work. I fell. My ankle completely broke, I think in 2 locations. Instantly went to hospital. I thought it's like a small thing. I get there, the doctors tell me, oh, your leg is broken. In fact, it's so bad that you're gonna need a metal plate on one side, and I don't remember what else they needed to do on the other side, because it's like broken both sides. Like, what? Well, went straight into an op. Sorry, within like 3 days. Then I was in hospital for, I think it was probably like 2 weeks, 10 days to 2 weeks in hospital. And remember, I was doing great. I was now working on myself, right? After the op, the doctor tells me, listen, unfortunately, you will only be able to walk properly in the next 10 months, 10 to 12 months, depending also on your body, how you heal. This is April. I'm being told you are pretty much disabled for the rest of the year. That's your year. That was another huge, huge curveball. When I got discharged, I couldn't walk, obviously, so I was relying mostly on early stages, wheelchair, crutches, but I couldn't use crutches that well, so mostly wheelchair, especially when I go out to the stores, right? And crutches, and I was not mobile. I couldn't stand and cook, especially the early stages because it was still swollen and sore and whatever. So I spent the most of 2023 disabled, pretty much, not able to move, not able to get up and cook, or I was like just sedentary, literally. And that was just like great, right? So from April until literally the following year, May, is when I had now healed and fully recovered to the point where I can walk, I can jog, I can move around. Now I'm good. I went for physio and all of that stuff. Literally, as you can see, it's like a year later. That's now in 2024, last year, May, right? Cool. Once I recovered, even though, and by the way, my leg will never ever be the same. I still have the plate and stuff, and I still have some issues here and there, but it's not that bad. I'm just grateful it's still there. May 2024, 1 year later, the disability is no more a thing anymore. I'm a fully able human being. I decided for the first time in 1 year to get on the scale. I knew it was going to be bad because I spent a whole year disabled, not mobile, and in fact, I wasn't even trying to help myself or eat healthy, whatever. I was just like, you know, and also it kind of also just killed my spirit a little bit because, bro, I'm just trying to recover. I'm finally ready to let go of the whole thing with my sister, and then this happens, and it's like, great. But, anyways, get in the scale, May 2024, 1 year later, last year, and lo and behold, the scale said 200 pounds a year ago, which is where I'm still now. I don't have an excuse for that one. These other ones, I feel like I can excuse the other incidences, right? 200 pounds, 91 kgs. That's me. Cool. Well, that was bad. I did nothing about it, to be honest. I genuinely did nothing. Oh, actually, I did. I did do something about it. As soon as I saw that, I decided to start jogging again. I started jogging because I couldn't do heavy things. I was also kind of still scared about the whole thing with my leg. So I started jogging. I jogged for 3 days. And I remember my boyfriend joined me for like 2 of those days. And the third day, halfway through us jogging outside, we stopped because my knee was painful. The knee on the leg where the injury had happened. So painful. We walked back home. Thought, maybe I can sleep it off. Next day, still sore, still painful. So we went back to my doctor, and he did some scans and blah blah blah. He checked. He said you might have low bone density, but I need to confirm. But the long story short, I think also because of the full year of the leg not working, and just suddenly you're jogging, it was a bit of a shock to my, system, especially this right side. And maybe I was putting a lot too much weight on the knee and all of that. It was adjusting and everything. Long story short, the doctor literally said, listen, your knee is cracked. I swear. There's a small crack on your knee. It doesn't need surgery or anything. However, you have to be back on crutches for another 30 days just to allow it to heal. Literally, this was me. Like, to be fair, I didn't even use the crutches because I was pissed off. I only use them when I know I'm gonna go outside. But around the house, I just walk. I didn't care. I was so like I hated crutches because I spent a whole year on crutches. And the last thing I ever expected to hear was that you have to be on crutches again for something else. So I pretty much stopped 30 days. After 30 days, I pretty much didn't do anything, just lived my life. Then in November last year, I was like, okay, no, girl, you need to do something about this weight. It's not cute, it's not good. So I went on a raw vegan diet. I know it's very extreme, but I'm pescatarian and I've been since grade 11. So since I was probably 17, so it's decades at this point, right, of me being pescatarian. So meat is something that I've not been eating for years, but I've been eating seafood like your salmon, fish, prawns, and all that. But I mean, they can be unhealthy because I would, if I eat fish, I'd eat fish and chips, deep fried, you know. So I was like, okay, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna do something very extreme just to detox your body. So I went on a raw vegan diet. That worked really well for me. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe I'll do a separate video about how I went about it and blah 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 and the stuff I was eating. I did a raw vegan diet for 21 days in November. Remember, I was 200 pounds and I dropped from 200 pounds to 185 pounds. What's the difference? Please, someone do the math for me. I don't know. And then in kilograms, I went from 91 kilograms to 84 kilograms in 21 days just with the raw vegan diet. And I saw some changes. I was happy. The plan was to do the raw vegan diet for only 30 days just to detox my system, get rid of the water weight, blah, 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 and get myself really strict. Because if you can go on a raw vegan diet and do it strictly, bro, you can do anything. That thing is tough. Then after that, movements and all that. I wasn't working out or anything. I was swimming once a day though. So I went on that and I dropped a little, which was good news. And I think this was the point where it would have been good for me to continue because if I did, I would not be here right now. I'm pretty sure I would have bounced back, honestly, to the 190 pounds, 70 kgs that I want, right? So in November, then December I had work, a project that was extremely labor intensive and stressful. In the beginning stages of the project, when we went on site, I would pack fruits, I'd make a smoothie just to make sure I still stay on track with the diet. But as time goes and as the more stressful it got, the more there was no time to pack lunches and fruits and whatever. So I ended up eating what all the guys ate on site and drinking whatever they drank on site and drinking coffee 3 4 times a day because of the stress. So pretty much I let go of the whole thing and did nothing, right? Then this year I started, and to be honest with you, I did not care this year. I just went through this year, but also there was something else I was dealing with with this year. I left my 9 to 5 job last year, April, to pursue my business, right, interests because they were doing well. So I thought I want to do them full time. This year I was still doing the same, but it was tough. This year business was hectic. Like I was too stressed to give a crap about a diet or gym, honestly. I know that's not an excuse. You see, this one year is a year where I can honestly say there's no excuse. Like I could have done something about it. I can't blame life. I can't blame circumstances. There was nothing. It was just me being lazy. Anyways, this whole year nothing happened. Never even weighed myself until last week. We were working on site, and I decided I want to start recording content of myself working on site, right? So I asked for a video to be recorded of me. They recorded a video of me. I got home and I looked at the video. I could not believe, like, I was so huge, huge to the point that I had a double chin. Well, I still had a double chin, and I hate double chins, guys. Like, even when I was still healthy, I used to like not like double chins even on people, to be honestly honest. So the reality that now I'm the person with a double chin. I saw that video, I was like, I'm not gonna post this, hell no. Secondly, if I don't wake up tomorrow and do something about this, I'm screwed for life. So the double chin is really what got to me. And also I was just big and inflated, my face and all of that. So that was like, I started gym like 10 days ago, so a week ago, right? That's when I decided to change my life. But anyways, when that happened, I thought, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna weigh myself. I genuinely thought I would be like 250 pounds because I just looked too huge. Got on the scale, turns out I was still 200 pounds, which is 91 kgs, which is where I am now. I've not weighed myself since I started a week ago. I don't know if maybe I've reduced a little bit, hopefully. But yeah, that's pretty much the story. I'll do it in another video just to talk about how it affected my relationships. I feel like, especially because I was always on the smaller side, everyone had known me that way all my life. So every now and then when someone sees me, they'll be like, holy cow, how many cows did you eat? So it was tough, but I think I'll talk about that in another video. But yeah, that's my story. That's how I got from this to that. Not a proud moment at all. I feel ashamed. I feel a lot of things, but I just want to pick myself up and do something about it instead of crying about it. And if anyone can relate, if anyone is in the same position, just change. Just wake up and just tell yourself, I'm done. This is it. And I just know deep down in my heart, I'm not gonna let anything let prevent me from fixing this time. I want to give myself 6 to 8 months to just get back to that 70 kgs, 190 pounds. Sorry, not 190, 156, 55 pounds. I just want to give myself time to get to that weight goal and then maintain and tone and whatever from there. So that's it.